Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs.
Hi everybody, welcome to episode 60, the 3 reasons why using your psychic sense is exactly the same as using your eyes to see. In this episode, we're going to compare the third eye to our physical eyes and how they are exactly the same when it comes to sensing out energy and seeing clearly. I hope everybody enjoys the show.
Hi guys, welcome back. We are so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about the 3 reasons why using your psychic sense is just like using your eyes. So we're excited to talk about this episode because we want to normalize the idea of using your own psychic awareness and your own intuition, because we're all born with this, right?
Right, because right when you hear the word psychic, a lot of people, their guard goes up. So like Lindsay said, this episode is to make this more of like a normal thing. And that's like part of our whole podcast mission too, is to make this like everyday conversation. And this is just like, if we're telling somebody about something psychically that happened, it's the same thing as telling them about something that physically that happened.
And Oprah, Einstein, all of the successful people that everyone knows about has used their intuition and admitted to using their intuition and became aware of the idea of using their intuition when it came to any area of their life, their relationships, and their business.
Right, exactly. That's a great point to point out, because once you start to dive into somebody who is successful, and the way we look at somebody who's successful is like emotionally, relationship-wise, career-wise. Well, when you start to study those people, they all will tell you about intuition. They all will tell you about the value of channeling, whether it's with music, writing, or anything like that. Yeah. So should we get into reason number 1?
Yes.
So reason number 1 is your third eye is for seeing the intangible energy. So your psychic sense is for seeing intangible energy, and your physical eyes are for seeing physical energy, tangible energy.
So if those of you who don't know, but you probably do know what this is if you're listening to our podcast, the third eye is right in the center of your forehead. And it's that moment where almost like it comes up as like a scene of a movie or a memory that comes through our third eye. So we could be sitting having a conversation with someone, and as we're having a conversation, we're seeing a picture of different things that are going on. The senses are going off in that way.
Exactly. So it's just a name that we gave that ability. So that ability to see those pictures inside your imagination. So if we tell you, for the people listening right now, or if you're watching the video, close your eyes and picture a purple elephant. Well, you can see that in your mind's eye. So it's our ability. So the way that psychic information comes in is through our mind's eye. And then we start to see it intangible. So that's what we're talking about with our psychic senses, for seeing that intangible movie, to where our physical eyes are for sensing the physical movie that's going along. Which one's more real? We don't know. Like, everybody's diving into that question. So I think they're just as real. Both are just as real. So both we should understand as much as we possibly can.
Yeah. And you can strengthen your third eye. I know that there's kids in India that are going to a school that specifically gears practice towards opening up their third eye. So they're actually given blindfolds, and it's layered blindfolds where they can't see, and they can literally hold up a piece of paper in front of them and they could read it like they don't have the blindfold on, because they're using their third eye.
See, I love that. I wish we would have done that here in our schooling and all of that. That would be so much. I would have so much fun doing that. Well, that's why we're doing this now.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing what we do. So number 2 is, so with our physical eyes, we can focus on detail. So say we're drawing a picture, we could focus in on the detail of the house. We could look at the shutters, the texture of it, the feel of it, every little detail of it, we could look with our physical eyes. Well, with our third eye, or our psychic sense, we can do the same thing. We can tune into that movie, and the more that we practice it, just how with our physical eyes, we can start to get specific details, and they'll start to get more and more specific as we start to focus in and use that sense.
Right.
And understand that it actually is a sense in the same way as our eyes are a sense.
Yeah. I'm thinking of things that I do to practice at night. Sometimes before I go to sleep, I actually have my eyes closed and imagine seeing my room with my eyes closed through my third eye. And I've actually woke myself up, but not actually opened my eyes. I could see through my third eye and could see things in my room. And you can focus in on that at night. That would be a good time to practice because everything else, the distractions are away from you. So try to focus in on that and see if you can start spotting different things in your room. And you could start there.
Right, just developing your imagination. I know Napoleon Hill talked about in his book Think and Grow Rich that he would have imaginary console in his mind to where he'd have all of like his top mentors come to this table, and then he would imagine everybody at the table. And he said he would focus on specific details. That way he could develop his imagination. And he said the more that he did this, the imaginary table started to come to life. Well, that's how our imagination is. The more we do this, it'll start to come to life. And people always ask, how are you so intuitive? How do you see that? How does this happen? Well, that's how, is through practicing and getting and developing it.
Yeah. And those people are, I believe that they really came through during those meetings, those that have passed. And that he set the intention that they would come in, and it made it even more powerful.
Right, exactly. Because
we talk to Wayne Dyer all the time.
All the time.
So we know that he's here, but we use our mind's eye to practice that, or that sense of communication in the way that we can telepathically.
Absolutely. You go to the gym to work out your muscles with your imagination. You work it out by using it and thinking about stuff like that. And then also allowing people to come into it, allowing other pictures to come in, just the spontaneousness of it. I think it's very spontaneous.
Yeah.
So number 3 is physical eyes are made to anticipate. So this goes again with seeing with the physical eyes and seeing with your third eye, which is your psychic sense. So with our physical eyes, as I go and I rollerblade throughout town, I'm anticipating everything that's about to happen, because that's what I learned to do. If you're streetwise, that's what you do when you're on the street. You're paying attention to everything. You're anticipating where this car is going to go, where that biker is going to go, where this person walking is going to go. Well, we could do that anticipation with our physical eyes. That's valuable, right? Because it'll help you stay alive. Well, with our third eye, it's even more valuable, I would say.
Yeah.
Because we can anticipate energy and circumstances and people's reactions very, very accurately by diving in and using what we talked about number 2 and looking at those details.
Right. And you can just, I feel like it's so hard to explain for me right now, because I feel like we've been aware of this. We're constantly using our intuition. We're constantly using our third eye. But are you aware of it? And that's the big thing.
Right.
So you're already doing it. So you could actually create the momentum of tuning in intuitively and clairvoyantly clear seeing before things actually happen. You can experience it while you're communicating with someone, whether it's a relationship or it's a business partner. You can actually feel into that with the communication. And you might even see, I know that when we used to meet up and do intentional business meetings every Wednesday, for an online business school, we would meet up and we would go around in a circle and say what was going on in our business. And each time someone spoke, as they were speaking and sharing an idea of what they were doing, I could actually see it in my mind's eye like it was right in front of me, because I was using their words, hearing their words, but I could also see the picture in my mind too.
Right.
So I believe it kind of does feel like your imagination, but it's using that same side of the brain, but it's actually reality.
Right, it is reality. Well, it's with the imagination, that's just the vessel that it comes through. So it's like with the eyes. If you have an artist, well, the artist needs the eyes to see. They see the picture and then they paint it. Well, the eyes are just a vessel for them to see through, and the better they make their eyes, like you're gonna want to eat healthy foods for the eyes, right? I mean, you want to take care of them. You want to give them nutrients. Well, the better you make that vessel, the more clear it's going to be. So I look at the imagination the same way. Even if we're not getting psychic information, I don't know, that's debatable. I look at all information like it's psychic information in a way.
I feel like that too. I feel like our imagination is psychic information.
Yeah, so it's all, everything we're imagining, all of the energy we're coming in, there's different subtle shifts between the different energies. I know sometimes like you get a shift of inspiration that comes in. You have goosebumps with a picture and everything, and it's very clear. So to distinguish the difference between that and everyday normal life, I don't know. I think that's what makes life beautiful, like a good song. Like you have like the boring parts, and then you have like the high level parts. You know, the high level parts. It's really a matter of intensity and energy. But are they different?
Yeah, I feel like it's all the same thing.
Right.
I feel like it's just we're tapping into like either the ether, or we're tapping into people on the other side that are helping us think of even inventions too. I believe that comes from a different space, whether it's our soul or we're tapping into the universal energy of what is needed here. I believe that. And that's why a lot of people have the same ideas as other people, because we're constantly getting information, but who's actually going to act on it?
Absolutely, that's the thing. Because it's not about the idea. We all have, like Lindsay was just saying, we all are connected with this idea.
Right.
Look at it like a web of ideas that connects us all. Well, the ideas are there inside the web, and we all have, with an intention, we could connect to it, and we could get those ideas if we want them, and some of us get them, but like Lindsay said, it's all about executing those ideas and taking them into form. And then also understanding what ideas are actually given to you personally from the universe, because I feel like the universe or God gives us specific ideas. The way that we know they are ours is by the emotional intensity of them when they come to you. So I think it's really important to dive into this and start to pay attention to the different energy levels and all of the different things that you are channeling in your imagination.
Right, and that reminds me with the emotional connection to it. It reminds me of some of the questions that I always get asked. How do you know the difference between your mind's eye working or your intuition working versus fear mode of you're getting premonitions of something bad that's going to happen? And that's a big fear of people when they come to me before they take my course. They'll say, what if I see something bad? And actually, we're just programmed to see the negative things. Really, if you program yourself to be aware of the positive things, then you're not going to experience those things that you're fearing. But when it comes, the difference between getting information from your mind's eye versus fear premonitions of someone getting in an accident. If you have concerns of someone getting in an accident and there's a pattern of your thoughts thinking, oh my gosh, if something bad going to happen to this person, it's probably fear mode. If all of a sudden you're doing something and randomly you get a thought, it's probably the fear. But if you've never ever had a thought of even writing a book and randomly you're riding your bike and you have this image of you signing autographed copies of a book, there's a reason for that. There's a message in that. So a lot of the times it comes out randomly, and there's not patterns that come ahead of time.
I think every time a great idea has ever come to me, it's come randomly, but not randomly. Like if you search for answers, they come, but then they come when they want to.
Yes.
So that's the random part.
It's not really planned.
Right, it's not
And then you
planned.
might get the goosebumps that you mentioned, like that emotional connection where all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is so real.
Right.
So you have to trust it. Don't go searching for answers through online dream dictionaries. Like, what does that dream mean? You already know in your soul. So you got to trust that feeling, like you were saying, in the moment, and know when that awareness comes through your third eye too.
Right, and I would say to continue to educate yourself on this and explore this topic and play with it. It's an art and a science to it, so like everything. So you just have to figure out your own way of doing this, and you'll get better at it.
Exactly. We hope that this episode helped you, and you can share with us in the comments anything that you learned today or anything that made you think, oh, I think my third eye was working in this situation. Share with us.
And we will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.